The eviction notice was delivered with a smile that made my skin crawl. My mother stood in the center of the living room I had spent 12 agonizing months rebuilding, her eyes scanning my hand-finished floors with the cold greed of a vulture. "We're taking the house back, Kendra," she said, her voice dripping with a fake, motherly concern. "It's simply too much for a single girl like you. It belongs to your sister now. You have 48 hours to pack your things and leave." Behind her, my sister Melissa was already measuring the windows for designer silk, her golden child entitlement radiating like a physical heat. They thought I was still the invisible, obedient daughter who would roll over and die for their approval. They thought they were taking back a gift. What they didn't realize, what they were about to find out in the most expensive lesson of their lives, was that in their rush to insult me with a rotting shack, they had accidentally handed me the title to a multi-million-dollar commercial goldmine. I wasn't just staying, I was about to bulldoze their arrogance into the dirt. My name is Kendra. For 27 years, I was the rough draft of my parents' life, while my sister Melissa was the masterpiece. In our family, there was a hierarchy of love, and I was firmly at the bottom. The ultimate proof of this came a year ago, in a meeting that felt more like a sentencing than a family gathering. "We want to be fair," my father had lied, sliding 2 folders across the table. Melissa's folder contained the deed to a brand-new, glass-walled luxury penthouse downtown. It was fully furnished, fully paid, and came with a rooftop pool and a concierge. My folder contained a collection of photos that looked like a crime scene. It was a 1920s craftsman house on the edge of the city, but house was a generous term. The roof was a sagging wreck of black mold, the windows were jagged teeth of broken glass, the yard was a graveyard of rusted metal and waist-high weeds. "You're the practical one, Kendra," my mother had said, her smile not reaching her eyes. "You have such a knack for hard work. This house has potential. Melissa needs something safe. You understand." I understood perfectly. I was being given trash so they could justify giving Melissa a palace. But I didn't argue. I took the deed. I took the keys to that rotting tomb, and for 1 year, I disappeared. I worked my corporate job by day and became a demolition crew by night. I lived on caffeine and spite. I hauled out literal tons of debris. I learned to sweat copper pipes, to rewire breakers, and to sand hardwood floors until they glowed like amber. I bled for every square inch of that house. I spent every cent of my savings on industrial-grade shingles and structural beams. By the time 12 months had passed, the shack was a modern, architectural sanctuary. That was when the vultures returned. When my parents saw the transformation, they didn't offer a hug or a well done. They saw dollar signs. They saw a yard for Melissa's future dog. Within 20 minutes of walking through the door, they told me I was being evicted from my own labor. "We gave you this property, we can take it back," my mother snapped when I pointed to the deed. "Family assets need to be rebalanced. You'll find a studio apartment. Melissa is moving her boxes in on Tuesday." Tuesday arrived, and with it, the box truck. Melissa hopped out of her Mercedes, designer sunglasses perched on her head, looking at my house like it was a prize she had won in a lottery. My parents were right behind her, arms crossed, ready to oversee my exit. "I told you to have your things on the porch, Kendra," my father grumbled. "Why is your furniture still inside?" "Because I'm not leaving," I said. I was sitting on the front steps, a single manila folder in my lap. "Don't be difficult," Melissa huffed, reaching for the door handle. "Mom and Dad said." Mom and Dad were so eager to dump a worthless property on me that they forgot to do a title search. I interrupted, my voice dropping into a terrifyingly calm register. I opened the folder and pulled out a map. "You gave me the house because the structure was a liability. But you never looked at the dirt." My father squinted. "What are you talking about?" "This lot sits on a rare commercial residential overlap," I said, sliding a document toward him. "A major developer has been trying to buy this entire block for a condo complex for a decade. The only thing missing was this corner." My corner. My mother's face went pale. "So, we'll just sell it and split the money 3 ways." "No," I smiled. "I already sold it. The sale finalized this morning." The silence that followed was absolute. Melissa's mouth hung open. My father's hands began to shake as he looked at the contract. The developers don't want the house, Dad. They're bringing in the excavators next week to flatten everything into a parking lot. And the payout? It's 4 times the value of Melissa's penthouse. You stole from us, my mother shrieked, her face twisting into a mask of pure fury. That's our money. We gave you that land. No, you gave me a dilapidated burden to get me out of your sight, I countered, standing up. You signed an irrevocable deed transfer to avoid the back taxes and the repair citations. It was your way of telling me I wasn't worth the cost of a renovation. Well, you were right. I wasn't worth a renovation. I was worth the whole damn empire. I pulled out my phone and tapped the screen. I've already called the police. Since you've moved a truck onto my private property and are refusing to leave, you're currently trespassing on a commercial construction site. You have 5 minutes to get Melissa's boxes off my lawn before the tow truck arrives. My father looked at the number on the contract, a figure that could have funded their entire retirement, and he looked like he was having a stroke. Melissa started to wail, a high-pitched, spoiled sound that I realized no longer had any power over me. We're your parents, my mother begged, her tone shifting to a pathetic, oily desperation. Kendra, please. We'll give you the penthouse. We'll trade. Just give us the land rights back. The ground is already sold, Mom. You can't trade for something that doesn't exist anymore. I watched from the porch as they frantically reloaded the truck, their movements fueled by the realization that they had just gambled away a fortune by trying to bully the daughter they underestimated. Melissa was crying so hard her makeup was running in black streaks. My parents were bickering in the driveway, blaming each other for not checking the zoning. As the truck pulled away, I felt something I hadn't felt in 27 years. I felt light. The house was demolished a week later. I didn't shed a single tear as the wrecking ball swung through the walls I had sanded and painted. Those walls had served their purpose, they were the cocoon that protected me while I turned into someone they could never hurt again. I took my millions and moved to a coastal estate 3 states away. I blocked their numbers. I blocked Melissa's social media. I heard through the grapevine months later that my parents had to sell Melissa's penthouse to pay off the predatory loans they took out trying to buy up other lots on my block, thinking they could beat me at my own game. They ended up in a 2-bedroom rental, exactly where they thought I belonged. They gave me dirt because they thought I was low value. They just forgot that with enough time and pressure, dirt turns into diamonds. If you loved this story of ultimate karma, hit the like button and subscribe. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever had to cut off toxic family members to protect your peace. Remember, your worth is never defined by the scraps people throw at you. Until next time, stay strong and build your own empire.